My mother-in-law kicked me out for being barren and ruining her son's bloodline. 6 months later, she saw me pregnant at the mall with my new billionaire fiancé and realized the infertility problem was never me. But let me take you back to where it all began, to the 5 years of hell that led to that moment. I'm Naomi Carter. Well, I was Naomi Williams for 5 years. Now I'm Naomi Okafor. But this story starts when I was 29, newly married, and desperately trying to have a baby. I met Brandon Williams when I was 24. He was 25, charming, handsome, working at his family's luxury car dealership empire, Williams Automotive Group. They owned 8 dealerships across the Southeast. Old money, established, respected in Atlanta's Black community. I was a pediatric nurse at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. Made $75,000 a year. Worked hard. Loved kids. Always dreamed of having my own. Brandon and I dated for 2 years before getting married. His mother, Diane, made her feelings clear from the start. "So you're a nurse. How practical." She said it like I cleaned toilets. "And your family? What do they do?" "My mom's a teacher. My dad works for the Postal Service." Diane's smile was tight. "Working class, I see. Well, Brandon comes from a family of entrepreneurs. We'll see if you can adjust to our lifestyle." I should have seen the red flags, but I loved Brandon. He was kind to me then, attentive. Said his mother just needed time to warm up. We got married at 26. Small wedding. Diane complained about everything. The venue wasn't prestigious enough. My dress wasn't designer. My bridesmaids weren't from the right families. But I thought once we had kids, everything would change. Diane would soften. We'd be a real family. We started trying to conceive immediately. We were young, healthy. I figured it would happen fast. Month 1, nothing. Month 6, nothing. Year 1, still nothing. Diane started asking questions at every family dinner. "Any news? No? Most couples conceive within 6 months. Are you doing something wrong?" Year 2, I went to my doctor. Basic fertility testing. Everything came back normal. "Sometimes it just takes time," she said. "Keep trying, reduce stress." Was building, because Diane was relentless. 2 years, Naomi, 2 years. Brandon's sisters both got pregnant within months of trying. "Maybe you should see a specialist. Something's clearly wrong." Year 3, we saw a fertility specialist, Dr. Monica Reeves at Emory Reproductive Center. She recommended starting with intrauterine insemination, IUI. "We'll monitor your ovulation, time the insemination perfectly. This works for many couples. Should Brandon get tested too?" I asked. Reeves looked at her notes. "Is there any reason to suspect male factor infertility?" Brandon answered before I could. "No. Men in my family are very fertile. My dad has 4 siblings. My grandfather had 6 kids. It's not me. We typically recommend semen analysis just to rule. I'm not doing that. It's embarrassing. Besides, we already know it's not me. Let's focus on Naomi." I should have insisted, should have demanded he get tested. But I was desperate, tired, willing to do whatever it took. We did 5 rounds of IUI over 18 months. Thousands of dollars. Hormone injections that made me bloated and emotional. Timed intercourse that turned sex into a medical procedure. Every single round failed. Diane's comments got worse. 5 IUIs and nothing? Naomi, maybe your body just isn't meant for this. Maybe you should accept that you're not mother material. That's not fair. Fair? You've been married to my son for 4 years. 4 years. No baby. Most women your age already have 2 or 3 children. Something is wrong with you. Brandon never defended me, just sat there, while his mother dissected my fertility at Sunday dinners. Year 4, we tried IVF, in vitro fertilization, our last hope. They harvested my eggs, 18 beautiful eggs, fertilized them with Brandon's sperm, got 12 embryos, transferred the best 2 into my uterus. I was hopeful. This was it. This had to work. 2 weeks later, the blood test came back negative. Not pregnant. I cried for 3 days straight. Called in sick to work. Couldn't function. The IVF cost $18,000. We drained our savings, and I had nothing to show for it, except failure. Diane called me after she heard. Well, that's that then. IVF was your last option. Clearly, you're just not capable of having children. Some women aren't. You need to accept that. We could try again. With what money? You've already wasted thousands on treatments that didn't work. Brandon needs to face reality. He married a woman who can't give him children. That's when things got really bad. 5 years into our marriage, Diane called a family meeting. I thought it was just another Sunday dinner. Showed up in jeans and a sweater. Instead, I walked into an ambush. Diane, her husband Robert, Brandon, and Brandon's 2 sisters Michelle and Nicole, all sitting in Diane's formal living room like a tribunal. Sit down, Naomi. We need to talk about the future of this family. What's going on? Diane folded her hands, her voice cold and businesslike. You've been married to Brandon for 5 years. You failed to produce a grandchild. You've undergone multiple fertility treatments, all unsuccessful. It's time we address this situation directly. Address what situation? Your infertility. Your inability to give Brandon what he needs. What this family needs. We've been trying. It's not like I'm not trying. Trying isn't enough. Results matter. And you have no results. Brandon comes from very fertile stock. His sisters both have children. She gestured to Michelle and Nicole, who looked uncomfortable but said nothing. The problem is clearly you. We don't know that. Brandon hasn't been tested. No, he doesn't need to be tested. Diane's voice rose. His family history speaks for itself. Stop trying to blame him for your deficiencies. I looked at Brandon. Say something. Tell her this isn't fair. Brandon looked at his hands. Mom has a point, Naomi. It's been 5 years. Maybe we need to consider that this isn't working. Consider what? Diane answered, divorce. So Brandon can remarry someone who can actually give him children. The room spun. Divorce? You're talking about divorcing me because we haven't gotten pregnant? Not we. You. You haven't gotten pregnant. You're the problem. And yes, I think it's time for Brandon to move on. He's 30 years old. He shouldn't waste any more years on someone who can't fulfill the basic purpose of marriage. The basic purpose. I couldn't breathe. You think the purpose of marriage is just making babies? The purpose of marriage is family, legacy, continuing the bloodline. You can't do that. Therefore, you're failing as a wife. Robert, Brandon's father, finally spoke. Diane, this is harsh. It's honest. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Naomi is a nice girl, but she's defective. She can't give us grandchildren. Brandon deserves better. Defective. That word hung in the air like poison. I turned to Brandon, tears streaming down my face. You agree with this? You want to divorce me? He finally looked at me, and I saw the truth in his eyes. I want children, Naomi. I've always wanted children, and it's becoming clear that's not going to happen with you. So yes, I want a divorce. But we haven't even properly diagnosed the problem. You won't get tested. How do you know it's me? Because it's not me. It's never been me. Everyone in my family can have kids, except your wife. That tells you everything you need to know. Diane stood up. I've consulted with our family attorney. The house is in Brandon's name. The down payment came from William's family money. You'll need to move out. You have 2 weeks. 2 weeks? Where am I supposed to go? Back to wherever you came from. Find a man who doesn't want children. Live your barren little life somewhere else. But not here. Not with my son. Barren. She called me Barren. Brandon, please. I've already filed the paperwork, Naomi. And there's something else. Candace and I have been talking. Candace, his high school girlfriend. The one Diane always loved. Talking? She's divorced now. Has 2 kids from her first marriage. She's proven she can have children. We're going to try again, together. You're leaving me for your ex-girlfriend, while we're dealing with infertility? Diane smiled coldly. You're not dealing with infertility. You are infertile. Brandon is simply moving on to someone functional. Michelle, one of Brandon's sisters, finally spoke. Mom, this is really cruel. It's necessary. I won't watch my son waste his life on a woman who can't give him what he needs. Naomi, you have 2 weeks. Pack your things. Brandon will not be helping you financially beyond what the divorce settlement requires. You brought nothing to this marriage except disappointment. I left that house in shock, drove home to the apartment that wasn't mine anymore, and collapsed. The next 2 weeks were hell, packing my life into boxes while Brandon avoided me. Coming home one day to find Candace's car in the driveway, finding her makeup in the bathroom, her clothes in the closet. He'd moved her in before I'd even moved out. Diane came by to supervise my packing, making sure I didn't take anything Brandon paid for. Those dishes, wedding gift from my side, leave them. That TV, Brandon bought it, leave it. Those towels, William's family money, leave them. I left with my clothes, my books, my nursing textbooks, and my shattered heart. Moved into a tiny studio apartment in a rough neighborhood. All I could afford on a nurse's salary. And then came the final humiliation. Diane posted on Facebook. Exciting news. Brandon and I are thrilled to announce he's moving forward with his life and reconnecting with his first love, Candace. We're so excited to welcome her and her 2 beautiful children into the Williams family. God closes doors so he can open better ones. Prayer, thank you. The comments poured in. About time. He deserves someone who can give him a family. I always thought that marriage wouldn't last. She seemed nice, but wasn't the right fit. Poor Brandon wasted 5 years. Thank God he found someone fertile. My humiliation was complete, public, permanent. I was branded as the barren wife, the defective woman, the one who couldn't do the one thing women are supposed to do. And Brandon, the man who'd vowed to love me in sickness and in health, had thrown me away without even getting a simple test to see if maybe, just maybe, the problem wasn't me at all. I cried for 2 weeks straight, barely ate, couldn't sleep, called in sick to work so often they put me on warning. I'd lost everything, my husband, my home, my hope of having children, my dignity. All because I couldn't get pregnant. And everyone assumed it was my fault. 2 weeks after moving into my studio apartment, I was barely surviving. I'd wake up at 3 a.m. having panic attacks. Couldn't eat. Lost 15 pounds in 2 weeks. Went to work like a zombie. Came home, cried, repeated. My best friend Maya finally forced her way into my apartment. She's also a nurse at Children's Healthcare, had been covering my shifts when I called in sick. Girl, open this door right now or I'm calling your mama. I opened the door. She took one look at me. Unwashed hair, same pajamas for 3 days, empty apartment with just a mattress on the floor, and started crying. Oh, Naomi, baby, no. She sat with me while I told her everything. The family meeting, Diane calling me Barren, Brandon leaving for Candace, the public Facebook humiliation. Maya was furious. That's abuse. Medical abuse. They blamed you without even testing Brandon? That's not how infertility works. But 5 years, Maya. 5 years of trying. Multiple treatments. It has to be me. Did Brandon ever get a semen analysis? No. He refused. Said men in his family are very fertile. Maya stood up, pacing. Naomi, do you know how many infertility cases are male factor? 40%. Almost half. And it goes up to 50% when you include mixed male-female factor cases. But his sisters have kids. So what? That means they're fertile. Doesn't mean he is. Fertility isn't genetic like that. Each person is different. His sisters could be super fertile, while he has low sperm count, poor motility, morphology issues. He doesn't know because he never got tested. The doctors assumed. The doctors assumed wrong because Brandon refused testing. They treated you as if you were the entire problem when they never even diagnosed the actual issue. She grabbed my phone. You're making an appointment, right now. With a fertility specialist. Not to try again with Brandon. Fuck Brandon. But to find out if there's actually anything wrong with you. I can't afford more testing. You have insurance. Basic fertility workup is covered. We're doing this. Maya made me an appointment with Dr. Rachel Foster, a reproductive endocrinologist at Emory. Different doctor from the one Brandon and I had seen. 3 weeks later, I sat in Dr. Foster's office. She was a black woman in her 50s with kind eyes and a no-nonsense attitude. So, Naomi, tell me your story. I told her everything. 5 years of trying, 5 failed IUIs, 1 failed IVF, recent divorce because I'm infertile, Brandon's refusal to get tested. Dr. Foster's expression darkened. Your husband refused semen analysis? Ex-husband, and yes, he said there was no point because his family history proved he was fine. That's not medicine, that's ego. She pulled up her computer. I'm going to order comprehensive testing for you. Blood work, ultrasound, AMH levels to check your ovarian reserve, HSG to check your fallopian tubes, full hormone panel. We're going to find out exactly what's happening with your body, not his, yours. What if I really am? What if there's something wrong with me? Then we'll know, and we'll address it. But Naomi, I need you to understand something. Being unable to conceive doesn't make you broken. It makes you human. Bodies are complex. Sometimes they don't work the way we want. That doesn't define your worth. I cried. His mother called me barren, defective, said I was ruining her son's bloodline. His mother is medically ignorant and cruel. The word barren should never be used by anyone with a medical degree or a functioning conscience. It's archaic, inaccurate, and weaponized against women. We don't use that word here. 2 weeks of testing. Blood draws, ultrasounds, procedures. The HSG test, where they inject dye into your fallopian tubes, was uncomfortable but quick. The ultrasound showed my uterus and ovaries. The blood work checked everything from hormones to egg reserve. Finally, results day. I sat in Dr. Foster's office, terrified of what she'd say. She smiled. Naomi, you're fine. Completely, totally fine. What? Your ovarian reserve is excellent. AMH levels are 3.8, that's high, meaning you have plenty of eggs. Your antral follicle count is 18. Most women your age have 10 to 12. You have more eggs than average. But we tried for 5 years. Your fallopian tubes are wide open, no blockages. Your uterus is perfectly shaped, no fibroids, no polyps. Your hormone levels are all in normal range. FSH, LH, estrogen, progesterone, all perfect. Your thyroid is fine. You ovulate regularly. There's absolutely nothing wrong with your fertility. I couldn't process it, but the IUIs failed. The IVF failed. How is there nothing wrong? Was your partner tested? No. Dr. Foster leaned forward. Then you were treating undiagnosed infertility. You were taking medications, doing procedures, spending money and emotional energy on treatments without knowing where the actual problem was. It's like trying to fix a car without knowing if the problem is the engine or the transmission. You can't treat what you haven't properly diagnosed. Are you saying it could have been Brandon? I'm saying that male factor infertility accounts for 40 to 50% of cases. Low sperm count, poor motility, abnormal morphology, DNA fragmentation. These are common issues. Without testing him, you never ruled it out. You just assumed it was you because he refused to be tested. But Candace got pregnant. Candace has 2 children from a previous marriage, correct? Yes. Then she's proven fertile. Her eggs work, her tubes work, her uterus works. That pregnancy could be 100% because of her fertility. Regardless of what Brandon contributed, you still don't know if his sperm is the issue. The truth hit me like a freight train. I'd been blamed, shamed, divorced, called barren for a problem that might have been Brandon's all along. Can I have children? Dr. Foster smiled warmly. Yes, absolutely. You're 34, healthy, fertile. Your body is perfectly capable of conceiving and carrying a pregnancy. You just need the right partner and proper evaluation. The only thing wrong was that you were married to a man who refused to take responsibility for his part in reproduction. I left that appointment feeling like I could breathe for the first time in 5 years. I wasn't broken, wasn't defective, wasn't barren. I was fertile, healthy, capable. Everything Diane said about me was wrong. I went home and cried, but this time from relief. Then I got angry. 5 years of blame, 5 years of shame, 5 years of invasive treatments and medications. All because Brandon was too proud to get a simple test. I wanted to call him, to scream at him, to send him my test results and say, "See, it wasn't me." But Maya talked me down. Don't give him that power. He doesn't deserve to know. Let him wonder for the rest of his life if it was him. Let that uncertainty eat at him. 3 months after the divorce, I was healing. Therapy twice a week. Back to work full-time. Started running again, something I'd loved before infertility consumed my life. They went to a hospital fundraiser gala. Children's Healthcare was raising money for a new NICU wing. I almost didn't go, didn't feel like being social. But Maya insisted, "You need to get out, see people, remember you're more than your failed marriage." At the gala, I met someone. Lawrence Okafor, Nigerian-American, tall, 6'3", broad shoulders, confident presence. Wearing a perfectly tailored navy suit, he approached me at the bar. "You're a pediatric nurse, right? I heard you speak at last year's fundraiser about the cardiac unit. You remember that?" You were passionate, articulate, made me double my donation. He smiled. "I'm Lawrence. I invest in healthcare tech companies. Been a donor here for 5 years." We talked for 2 hours. He was 42, self-made entrepreneur. Started with nothing, built a tech investment portfolio worth $50 million. "I love kids," he said. "Always wanted a big family. 4 or 5 children at least." My heart sank. Here we go again. I should tell you something. I was recently divorced because of fertility issues. My ex-husband's family said I couldn't have children. Lawrence looked confused. "Did a doctor tell you that?" "No. But we tried for 5 years. "Did he get tested?" "No." "Then how did anyone know it was you?" He said it so simply, like it was obvious. They just assumed because his family. Assumptions aren't data. I'm a businessman. I don't make decisions without data. Did you get tested recently? Yes. Doctor said I'm completely fertile, that there's nothing wrong with me. Lawrence smiled. Then, your ex-husband and his family are idiots, and their loss is my potential gain. He asked for my number. I gave it to him, shocked. We started dating slowly. Coffee dates, walks in Piedmont Park. He was patient when I told him about the trauma of the last 5 years. Take your time, he said. I'm not going anywhere. Let's just get to know each other. 4 months in, he took me to Nigeria to meet his family. His mother Adaeze welcomed me with open arms. You're a nurse? You care for sick children? You have a beautiful heart. That's what matters. No questions about fertility. No pressure about grandchildren. Just acceptance. I cried that night in the hotel. Your mother is so kind. She's not kind. She's normal. The way your ex's mother treated you was abnormal, cruel, wrong. Don't confuse basic human decency with exceptional kindness. 6 months into dating, Lawrence proposed. We were at Stone Mountain, watching the sunset. He got down on one knee. Naomi, I love you. Not for what you can give me, for who you are. Will you marry me? Lawrence, I need to be clear about children. I know you want children. I want children. If we have them naturally, wonderful. If we need fertility treatments, we'll do them. Together, with both of us tested. If that doesn't work, we adopt. If you can't carry, we use a surrogate. There are options. The only non-negotiable is you. I want to marry you. I said yes. 2 months after getting engaged, I felt weird. Nauseous every morning, exhausted, breasts tender. I ignored it for a week, probably just stress from wedding planning. Then Maya noticed at work. Girl, you look green. When was your last period? I don't know, maybe 6 weeks ago? 6 weeks? Naomi, take a pregnancy test. I'm not pregnant. I can't get pregnant, remember? You literally have test results saying you're fertile. Take a test. I bought 5 tests on the way home. Took them all. Every single one. Positive. I stared at them in disbelief. Called Dr. Foster immediately. I think I'm pregnant, but I don't understand. After years of trying with Brandon. Come in tomorrow. We'll do blood work and ultrasound. The next day, Dr. Foster confirmed it. You're about 8 weeks pregnant. Congratulations, Naomi. I burst into tears. But how? After 5 years of treatments and nothing. Because the problem was never you. It was likely Brandon's sperm quality, or it was unexplained infertility that resolved, or it was the stress of his family's pressure affecting your body. But now, with a partner whose fertility complements yours, and without toxic pressure, your body is doing exactly what it was always capable of doing. I'm gonna be a mother. Yes, you always could have been. Someone just convinced you otherwise. I told Lawrence that night. He cried. Actually cried. We're having a baby. Our baby. Are you sure we weren't trying? I'm sure. This is perfect. You're perfect. Our timing is perfect. For the first time in 6 years, I felt hope. Not hope that I might get pregnant someday, but certainty that I already was, that I was capable, worthy, fertile. Everything Diane said I wasn't. 6 months after Diane kicked me out, 4 months after getting engaged to Lawrence, 3 months pregnant, I was at Lenox Square Mall shopping for maternity clothes. I was showing now. Not huge, but definitely visibly pregnant in my fitted wrap dress that hugged my small bump. Lawrence had his arm around my waist, hand resting protectively on my belly. We were laughing about baby names. If it's a girl, I want to name her after my grandmother, Adades. Lawrence said, "That's beautiful. And if it's a boy? Chakwudi. It means God exists. Because this baby is proof that God exists and answers prayers." We walked into Nordstrom, still laughing, and I froze. Standing by the designer handbag section was Diane Williams, with Brandon and Candace. Candace was pregnant too, looked about 6 months along, much bigger than me. Diane was fussing over her like she was made of glass. "Are you drinking enough water? Taking your prenatals?" We need to keep my grandson healthy. My heart started pounding. Lawrence felt me tense. What's wrong? That's then. Brandon, his mother, and Candace. Lawrence looked over, his expression hardening. Wanna leave? No, I'm not running anymore. Brandon saw me first. His face went completely white. He grabbed his mother's arm. Diane turned. Her eyes swept over me, then locked on my pregnant belly. Time stopped. Her mouth actually fell open. She looked from my face to my stomach to Lawrence and back again. You're pregnant? Her voice was barely a whisper. Lawrence smiled, oblivious to the history. Yes, 3 months along. We're very excited. He extended his hand. I'm Lawrence Okafor, Naomi's fiancé. And you are? Diane couldn't speak, just stared at my belly like it was a ghost. Brandon found his voice first. That's my mother, Diane, and I'm Brandon. Naomi's ex-husband. The word ex-husband hung in the air awkwardly. Lawrence's smile faded. He didn't shake Brandon's hand. Ah, the one who... He stopped himself, glanced at me. Candace was staring too, her hand protectively on her own pregnant belly. The silence stretched. Finally, Diane recovered enough to speak. Well, congratulations. This is surprising. Given your condition, I didn't think you were capable of getting pregnant. My condition? My voice was ice. Your infertility, the fertility issues that ended your marriage to my son. 5 years of failed treatments. IVF that didn't work. You were, she paused, choosing her words carefully in public, unable to conceive. Lawrence stepped forward slightly, his voice calm but sharp. There was never any infertility. Naomi is perfectly fertile, always has been. That's impossible. They tried for 5 years. They tried for 5 years without proper diagnosis because the husband refused testing. Lawrence looked directly at Brandon. You never got a semen analysis, did you? Brandon's face flushed red. I didn't need to. So that's a no. You blamed your wife for infertility without ever confirming where the problem actually was. That's not medicine. That's ego. A few shoppers nearby were starting to notice the tension, slowing down to listen. Diane tried to recover. Brandon comes from a very fertile family. His sisters have children. His father has siblings. The Williams bloodline is strong. Family history doesn't determine individual fertility, Lawrence interrupted. That's not how reproductive medicine works. Male factor infertility accounts for 40 to 50% of infertility cases. Without testing him, you never ruled it out. You just assumed it was Naomi and destroyed her over your assumption. Brandon has clearly moved on successfully. Diane gestured to Candace's belly. He and Candace are expecting, so obviously he's fine. Lawrence looked at Candace. You have 2 children from your previous marriage, correct? Candace nodded, uncomfortable. Then you're proven fertile. Your eggs work. Your uterus works. This pregnancy, he gestured to her belly, could be entirely due to your fertility, regardless of what Brandon contributed. You still don't know if his sperm is the problem. You never tested him. Brandon exploded. There's nothing wrong with me. Then why were you so afraid to get tested? I finally spoke, my voice steady. Why did you refuse every time the doctor suggested it? Why did you make me go through 5 IUIs and IVF while you refused a simple semen analysis? Because I don't need to prove anything. You made me prove everything. Made me take hormones that made me sick. Made me do procedures that were painful and invasive. Spent $18,000 on IVF. All while you sat back and refused to even check if maybe you were part of the problem. People were definitely watching now. A small crowd had formed, pretending to browse nearby racks. Diane stepped forward, trying to regain control. This is inappropriate. Naomi, you're making a scene. No, you made a scene 6 months ago. When you called a family meeting to tell me I was defective. When you called me Barren in front of your entire family. when you kicked me out for ruining Brandon's bloodline. Remember that, Diane? Her face went pale. I continued, my voice rising. You said I was empty, useless as a wife, that I came from defective stock. You gave me 2 weeks to pack my life into garbage bags while Brandon moved Candace into our bed. You posted on Facebook about how glad you were he found someone fertile. You made my infertility public, made it a joke, made me a failure in front of everyone we knew. I was protecting my son. You were wrong. I was shaking now, Lawrence's hand steady on my back. There was nothing wrong with me. I went to a fertility specialist after the divorce. Comprehensive testing. You know what she found? Nothing. My ovarian reserve is excellent. My tubes are clear. My hormones are perfect. My uterus is healthy. I'm completely, totally fertile. I always was. Diane's face went from pale to red. Then why didn't you get pregnant with Brandon? Maybe because it was Brandon. My voice echoed in the store. Maybe because he has low sperm count, or poor motility or morphology issues that we never diagnosed because he was too proud to get tested. Maybe because we spent 5 years treating me for a problem that was his. But we'll never know, will we? Because Brandon refused to find out. Brandon looked like he wanted to disappear. You don't know it was me. And you don't know it wasn't. That's the point. You divorced me, let your mother call me Barren, threw me out, and married someone else, all without ever checking if you were the problem. Candace spoke for the first time, her voice quiet. Brandon, you told me you were tested. You said the doctors confirmed it was her. Everyone turned to look at Brandon. The doctor said, they assumed. You lied? Candace's voice rose. You told me you got tested and the doctor said your sperm was fine. I didn't lie. They said family history suggested it wasn't me. That's not a test. Candace was getting upset now, her hand on her belly. That's not data. Did you or did you not get a semen analysis? No, but oh my God. Candace looked at Diane. You destroyed his marriage over an assumption? You called her barren without any actual diagnosis? Straight pauses. Diane tried to defend herself. He comes from a fertile family. That doesn't mean he's fertile. Candace turned to Brandon. We need to talk, now. Candace, calm down, the baby. Don't tell me to calm down. You told me she was infertile, that it was confirmed, that the doctors ran every test. You said she was the problem. She was the problem. Look at her now. She's only pregnant because she found someone else. Lawrence spoke, his voice cold. She's pregnant because she's with someone who's actually fertile. Or maybe just someone who isn't whatever you are. We'll never know because you refuse testing. Sorry, this is ridiculous, Brandon sputtered. I have nothing to prove to you people. Then why are you so defensive? I asked. If you're so sure it wasn't you, why not get tested? Prove it. Prove I was the problem. Get a semen analysis right now and show everyone I was defective and you were fine. Silence. That's what I thought, I said quietly. You won't, because you're afraid. Afraid that you'll find out the truth, that you destroyed our marriage, let your mother abuse me, threw me out and married someone else over a problem that was yours. Naomi, Diane started. No, you don't get to talk. You called me barren. You said I was ruining your son's bloodline. You said I came from defective stock and should go back to where I came from. You made me pack my things in 2 weeks while watching Brandon move his ex-girlfriend into our home. You posted on social media celebrating my failure before the divorce was even finalized. Tears were streaming down my face now. You said I'd never be a mother, that I wasn't mother material, that God was closing doors because I wasn't meant to have children. Well, look at me, Diane. Look at me. I'm pregnant. Easily pregnant. Naturally pregnant. Happily pregnant. With a man who loves me and didn't need his mother's permission to marry me. Lawrence added, his arm around me. And for the record, I'm not just Naomi's fiancé. I'm also significantly wealthier than your car dealership empire. My portfolio is worth about $50 million. So your implication 6 months ago that Naomi married down by marrying Brandon? Incorrect. She married an insecure man from a toxic family. Now she's marrying a man who values her. Diane's face went through several emotions: shock, anger, embarrassment. A store manager approached. "Is everything all right here? We've had some complaints about the noise." "We're fine," Lawrence said smoothly. "We're just leaving. We have a nursery to design." He took my hand and we started to walk away. But I turned back one more time. "Diane, you're going to spend the rest of your life wondering, was it really me? Or was it your son? And you'll never know. Because he's too proud to find out. But here's what I know. I'm having a baby. The baby you said I couldn't have. With a man who sees me as whole, not defective. And you're going to live with the knowledge that you destroyed your son's marriage over your own ignorance and prejudice." I looked at Brandon. "I hope Candace's baby is yours. I hope you're happy. But you'll always wonder, won't you? Every time you see me pregnant, every time you hear I had another baby, you'll wonder, was it me? Was I the reason?" Brandon's eyes were wet. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. I turned to Candace. "Get him tested. Before you have this baby, make him get a full fertility workup. Because if he has issues and you want more kids, you deserve to know. Don't let him blame you the way he blamed me." Candace was crying now, nodding. Lawrence and I walked out of Nordstrom, leaving them standing there in shocked silence. In the car, I sobbed. "Did that really just happen?" "You were magnificent," Lawrence said, holding my hand. "You told the truth. You defended yourself. You were powerful." I wanted to scream, to tell her every horrible thing she said to me. "You did, calmly, with dignity, with a baby bump as proof she was wrong about everything." That night, I got a text from an unknown number. "This is Candace. Can we talk?" I showed Lawrence. "Should I respond?" "That's up to you." "But you don't owe her anything." I responded, "What do you want to talk about?" "Candace, the fertility stuff. Was Brandon really never tested?" "Me. Never. He refused every time, said it was embarrassing and unnecessary because his family history proved he was fine." "Candace, he told me he was tested, that his sperm count and motility were excellent, that the doctors confirmed it was 100% you." "Me. He lied. I have medical records proving he refused testing. The fertility clinic even noted his refusal in my chart." Long pause. "Candace, I need to think about this. Thank you for telling me." "Me. Candace, I don't hate you. You didn't know. But please, make him get tested. Before you have more kids, you deserve to know the truth." "Candace, I will. And Naomi, I'm sorry for everything. Diane told me you were impossible to deal with, that you refused to try treatments, that you gave up. I didn't know she was lying." "Me, she wasn't lying to you. She was lying to herself. Good luck with your baby." I blocked both their numbers after that. I didn't need updates on their lives. 3 days later, Maya called me. "Girl, did you see Diane's Facebook?" I blocked her months ago. She deleted the post about Brandon and Candace, the one celebrating your divorce, and she posted something new. "What?" Maya read it to me. Sometimes in life we make judgments without all the facts. I'm learning to be more thoughtful and less quick to conclusions. Praying for wisdom and grace." "That's it? That's her apology?" "It's not even an apology. It's a vague post that doesn't name you or acknowledge what she did." "Of course it is. She's too proud to actually admit she was wrong." But word spread fast in Atlanta's Black community, the luxury car dealership community, the social circles Diane traveled in. People talked. "Did you hear? The Williams girl divorced Naomi for being infertile, and 6 months later, Naomi's pregnant with someone else's baby. Maybe it was Brandon who couldn't have kids. They never tested him, just blamed her. Diane Williams threw that girl out, and now she looks like a fool." Brandon and Diane's reputation took a hit, and I was thriving. 3 months pregnant, engaged to a man who loved me, building a life I never thought possible. The baby Diane said I couldn't have was growing inside me, and she had to live with knowing she'd been wrong about everything. 3 months after the mall confrontation, I gave birth to a healthy baby girl. Labor started at 2 a.m. on a Thursday. Lawrence rushed me to Northside Hospital, never leaving my side. 14 hours of labor. Lawrence held my hand through every contraction, whispered encouragement, wiped my forehead. When they finally placed my daughter on my chest, I sobbed so hard I could barely breathe. She was perfect. 7 pounds, 5 ounces. Full head of dark curly hair. Tiny fingers that immediately gripped mine. "She's here," I whispered. "She's really here." Lawrence was crying too. Our daughter. Our beautiful daughter. We named her Zuri Ada Adize, Okafor, beautiful in Swahili, and Lawrence's grandmother's name. The baby Diane said could never exist was sleeping in my arms. Lawrence's mother Ada Adize flew in from Lagos within 48 hours. Burst into my hospital room with tears streaming down her face. My granddaughter. My beautiful granddaughter. She held Zuri like she was made of glass. "Thank you, Naomi. Thank you for this blessing." My own mother was there too. She'd been in the delivery room, had seen me push Zuri into the world. "Baby, you did it. You really did it." Mama held my face. "That woman said you couldn't. She was wrong. So wrong." No complications, no issues. Completely healthy natural birth. Every nurse who came in commented, "Beautiful baby, you did amazing, Mama." Proof, undeniable proof, that I had never been barren. While I was recovering, my phone buzzed. A message request on Instagram from an account I didn't recognize. Against my better judgment, I opened it. It was from Diane. "Naomi, I heard you had your baby. Congratulations. I'd like to come meet her." I stared at the message for a long time. Lawrence saw my expression. "What's wrong?" "Diane wants to meet Zuri." "Absolutely not." "Part of me wants to let her, to show her, to make her see the baby she said I couldn't have." "And give her access to your daughter after what she did to you?" "No." He was right. But the petty part of me wanted vindication, wanted her to see, to know. I responded, "You can come, 1 hour. That's it." Lawrence wasn't happy, but he supported my decision. 1 hour. I'll be here the whole time. If she says one wrong thing, she's out. 2 days later, Diane came to the hospital. She brought flowers, pink roses, a gift bag with expensive baby clothes. She looked older than I remembered, more tired, less polished. "Naomi, thank you for letting me come. You have 1 hour." She approached the bassinet where Zuri was sleeping, stared at her for a long moment. "She's beautiful, absolutely beautiful." "Yes, she is. She looks healthy. Perfect." "Yes." Diane turned to me, and I saw tears in her eyes. "I was wrong, about you, about everything. I should have insisted Brandon get tested, should have demanded proper diagnosis before making assumptions. I shouldn't have said those horrible things to you. No, you shouldn't have. I was protecting my son." "You are protecting your pride," I interrupted. "Your image, your idea of what the Williams family should be. You weren't protecting Brandon. You were controlling him, and you destroyed his marriage to do it. I really believed you were the problem, that you couldn't give him children. You believed it because it was easier than considering that your perfect son might have issues, that the Williams bloodline might not be so strong. You believed it because blaming me made you feel powerful." Diane flinched. "That's not fair. You called me barren, in front of your entire family. You gave me 2 weeks to pack my life. You posted on Facebook celebrating my failure. You told everyone in your social circle that I was defective. And now you want to hold the baby that proves you were wrong? Please, I'm asking, no, I'm begging. Let me apologize properly. Let me make this right." "You can't make this right. You can't unsay what you said. Can't undo the year of my life I spent believing I was broken." can't give me back my marriage or my dignity or the family I thought I had. I know, but I want to try. Please, can I hold her, just for a moment? I looked at Lawrence. He shook his head slightly. His vote was no. But I needed this. Needed her to feel what she'd tried to take from me. You can hold her, but first, I need you to understand something. Zuri exists because you were wrong. Not just mistaken, wrong. About my fertility, about my worth, about whether I deserve to be a mother. You told me I wasn't mother material. You said God was closing doors because I wasn't meant for this. Look at her, Diane. Look at her. She's proof that God was never closing doors. You were. Your prejudice, your cruelty, your refusal to consider that maybe, just maybe, your son was part of the problem. Diane was crying openly now. I know all of that. I have to live with it every day. Good, because I lived with your words for a year, believing I was defective, broken, empty. Now you get to live with knowing you were wrong. I picked up Zuri, held her for a moment, then placed her in Diane's arms. Diane cradled her, tears falling on Zuri's blanket. She's so beautiful, so perfect. Yes, the baby you said could never exist is perfect. Brandon should have gotten tested. I should have made him. I was so certain. Did he ever get tested? Diane was quiet. Did Brandon ever get a semen analysis? After everything? No. He refuses. Even now, even after Candace's baby was born. Why? He says he doesn't need to. That Candace's baby proves he's fine. Candace had 2 kids before Brandon. Her proven fertility doesn't prove his. You still don't know if he was the problem with me. I know. Does it bother you, not knowing? Diane looked at me, fresh tears forming. Every single day. I see your baby. I hear about your pregnancy. And I wonder, did I destroy my son's marriage over my own ignorance? Was it him all along? Did I blame you for something that was his fault? And you'll never know, because he's too proud to find out, just like his mother was too proud to consider she might be wrong. The machine monitoring Zuri's vitals beeped. A nurse came in. Everything okay? Yes, I said. Mrs. Williams was just leaving. Diane kissed Zuri's forehead gently, then handed her back to me. Thank you for letting me meet her. And Naomi, I am sorry. I know it doesn't fix anything, but I am truly, deeply sorry. Your apology doesn't change what happened, but I hope it changes how you treat the next woman who struggles with infertility. I hope you never call anyone barren again. I hope you learn something. I did. I learned that pride can destroy families, that assumptions can ruin lives, that I was wrong about the one thing I was most certain about. 6 months after Zuri's birth, I was at Target with my daughter in the cart when I ran into Brandon. He was alone. No Candace, no baby. He saw Zuri first, 6 months old, chubby cheeks, smiling at everyone, clearly thriving. Naomi, hi. Brandon. He stared at Zuri. She's beautiful. Your daughter. Thank you. I heard you got married. To that guy from the mall. The wealthy one. Lawrence, yes. We got married 3 months ago. Small ceremony. That's good. You deserve to be happy. Awkward silence. How's Candace? And your son? Brandon's face fell. We're separated. She moved back to Tennessee with both kids, her 2 from before and our son. I'm sorry to hear that. She wanted more kids. We had issues. Issues? He looked uncomfortable. She couldn't get pregnant again. After our son, we tried for 2 years. She wanted me to get tested. I refused. She left. The irony was staggering. So you did to Candace what you did to me. Refused testing while she struggled. It's not the same. It's exactly the same. Brandon, are you hearing yourself? You destroyed our marriage because I couldn't get pregnant. Then you married Candace, had 1 kid, a kid that might have been entirely due to her fertility, since she already had 2. Then when she couldn't get pregnant again, you refused testing again, and she left. Do you see the pattern? There's nothing wrong with me. Then prove it. Get tested. Stop destroying relationships because you're too proud to check if maybe, just maybe, you're the common factor. I don't need to prove anything. Yes, you do. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to Candace. You owe it to any future woman you date. Brandon. You've now been with 2 women who couldn't get pregnant with you. 2. What are the odds that both of us are infertile, but you're perfectly fine? He was quiet. Get tested, please, for your own peace of mind, so you stop blaming women for something that might be your issue. If I get tested, and there is something wrong, that means everything Mom said about you was wrong. That we divorced you for nothing. That I threw away 5 years for a problem that was mine. Yes, that's exactly what it means. Can you live with that? Brandon looked at Zuri again. You got pregnant so easily with him. Because Lawrence is fertile, or because the stress of your family was affecting my body, or because infertility sometimes resolves on its own, or because you have low sperm count and Lawrence doesn't, we'll never know. But I'm done caring. I have my daughter. I have my husband. I have everything your mother said I couldn't have. Whether you get tested or not doesn't affect my life anymore. Do you hate me? No, I don't hate you. I pity you. You're so afraid of finding out the truth that you'd rather blame women and destroy relationships than face the possibility that you're not perfect. That's sad, Brandon. It's just sad. I pushed my cart away, leaving him standing in the diaper aisle, finally confronting what he'd been running from for years. 2 years after Zuri's birth, I got pregnant again. Naturally. Easily. Without trying. Twins. A boy and a girl. Chidi and Amara. Lawrence was ecstatic. 3 kids. We're building the family I always dreamed of. Your mother warned me about your fertility, I joked. She said ego men make a lot of babies. She wasn't wrong. The twins were born healthy at 37 weeks. Big, strong, perfect. I posted a photo on Instagram, me in the hospital bed, Lawrence beside me holding both twins. With Zuri sitting carefully next to us. Caption, family complete. 3 miracles I was told I could never have. So grateful, so blessed. Within an hour, I had thousands of likes, hundreds of comments, and one message from Candace. Your babies are beautiful. I'm happy for you. And I wanted you to know I made Brandon get tested. After our conversation at Target, I threatened to never let him see our son again unless he did it. He finally agreed. My heart stopped. And? Low sperm count. Very low and poor motility. The fertility specialist said he's technically able to father children, but it would be very difficult without assistance. That our son was likely a miracle baby given his numbers. That I'd need IVF to get pregnant again with him. I sat there staring at the message. It was him. All along, it had been him. The 5 years of blame. The treatments I'd endured. The shame I'd carried. The word barren that had defined me. All because of low sperm count Brandon had been too proud to check for. What did Brandon say when he got the results? I asked. He cried, said he'd ruined your life over his ego, that he'd blamed you for his problem, that he'd let his mother destroy you when you were innocent. He wanted to reach out to you to apologize, but I told him to leave you alone. You've moved on. You're happy. He doesn't get to disrupt that for his own conscience. Thank you for telling me. You deserve to know. You deserve to know you were right all along, that it wasn't you, that you were never the problem. I'm sorry I was part of hurting you. You didn't know. He lied to you too. After that conversation, I told Lawrence everything. He held me while I cried. It was him all along, and he let me believe I was broken. But you're not broken. You never were. You're strong. You survived his family. You built a new life. You have 3 beautiful children. He doesn't get credit for breaking you. You get credit for rebuilding yourself. 5 years after leaving Brandon, I had built everything Diane said I couldn't. 3 children. Zuri, 5. And twins Chidi and Amara. A marriage to a man who loved me unconditionally. A beautiful home in a great neighborhood. Financial security. Lawrence's businesses were thriving, and I'd been promoted to charge nurse. A family that celebrated me. Everything she said I'd never have. Meanwhile, Brandon was alone, still working at his family's dealership. Single. Seeing his one son every other weekend. Diane's social standing in Atlanta had never recovered. She was known as the mother-in-law who called her daughter-in-law Barren, then was proven wrong. Karma had done its work without me lifting a finger. 10 years after being kicked out, I was 44 years old with 5 children. Yes, 5. Lawrence and I had 2 more, boys named Ibuka and Kalechi, now 3 and 18 months. Our house was loud, chaotic, full of love and laughter. You said you wanted a big family, I told Lawrence one morning while feeding Kalechi and breaking up a fight between Chidi and Ibuka. I did, and I got it, with you. He kissed my forehead. Best decision I ever made. I heard through social media that Brandon finally remarried. A woman named Lisa, 28, no kids. Within a year, they were having fertility issues. I heard through Maya, who heard from a mutual friend, that Brandon had finally been honest with Lisa about his low sperm count. They were doing IVF. 3 rounds so far, all failures. Brandon was 45 now. His sperm quality had likely decreased with age. The irony was almost poetic. One afternoon, I got a phone call from an unknown number. Hello? Naomi, this is Diane. Please don't hang up. I almost did, but curiosity won. What do you want, Diane? I'm calling to apologize. Really apologize. Not the half apology I gave at the hospital. A real one. It's been 10 years. I know, and I've spent 10 years watching you thrive while my son struggles. Watching you have baby after baby while he can't even keep a relationship. Watching you build the exact life I said you couldn't have, and I finally understand. I was wrong about everything. Why are you calling now? Because Brandon's marriage is falling apart. Lisa wants a baby. He can't give her one without expensive treatments that keep failing. And she's blaming him the way I taught him to blame you. She calls him defective, says he's ruining her chance at motherhood. And watching him experience what he put you through, it's killing me. So you want me to what? Feel sorry for him? No. I want you to know that karma is real, that the pain he caused you came back to him, that I'm sorry for every role I played in your suffering, and that if I could go back and do it differently, I would. But you can't. So where does that leave us? Nowhere. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I know you've moved on. I just needed you to hear me say it. You were never the problem. You were never barren, defective, or any of the horrible things I called you. You were a woman struggling with infertility caused by her husband's medical issues that he refused to address. And I destroyed you over my own ignorance. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Silence on the line. Thank you for saying that, I finally said. But you're right, it doesn't change anything. I'm not interested in a relationship with you or with Brandon. I've built a life without the Williams family. And it's a beautiful life. The best revenge wasn't destroying you. It was building something so full that your cruelty became irrelevant. You're a better person than I am. No, I'm just a person who survived you. There's a difference. I hung up. That night, Lawrence found me in our bedroom, staring at nothing. You okay? Diane called to apologize. Said Brandon's new wife can't get pregnant and is blaming him the same way he blamed me. How do you feel about that? I don't know. Part of me feels vindicated, like the universe proved I was right. But another part just feels sad. Sad that it took him experiencing it himself to understand what he put me through. Lawrence pulled me close. You know what the difference is between you and them? What? When you struggled with infertility, you kept trying, kept hoping, kept being kind to yourself and others despite the pain. When Brandon struggles, he blames everyone else. You faced your struggle with grace. He faces his with the same pride that caused it. That's why you have 5 kids, and he has one he barely sees. 15 years after being kicked out for being barren, I stood in my kitchen making breakfast for my 5 children. Zuri, 15, was helping Kelechi, 11, with homework. Chidi and Amara, 13, were arguing about whose turn it was to set the table. Ibuka, 13, was showing me a science project. My house was loud, chaotic, full of life. Everything Diane said I couldn't have. The doorbell rang. Zuri answered it. "Mom, there's a lady here asking for you." I walked to the door. It was an older black woman, maybe 75, with a cane. "Can I help you?" I asked. "Are you Naomi Okafor, used to be Naomi Williams?" she replied. "Yes. Who are you?" I asked. "I'm Dorothy Henderson, Diane Williams' sister. I came to tell you something." "Okay," I said, feeling a bit uneasy. "Diane passed away last week. Cancer. She was sick for 2 years. I felt nothing. No joy, no sadness. Just acknowledgement. I'm sorry for your loss. Before she died, she asked me to come find you, to tell you something. She said, 'Tell Naomi she was right about everything. Tell her I was wrong. Tell her I'm sorry I stole a year of her life with my cruelty. Tell her I died knowing that my biggest regret was calling her barren when she was capable of building an empire of love.'" Behind me, all 5 of my children were visible in the doorway. Dorothy looked at them, tears forming. "You have 5 children." "Yes." "She said you couldn't have any. She said you were," she used an ugly word, "barren. She called me barren. And now you have 5. Dorothy smiled through tears. "You proved her wrong." "I didn't prove her wrong to spite her. I proved her wrong by living my truth. There's a difference." Dorothy nodded. "She wanted you to know she died with regret. That if she could take it all back, she would. Thank you for telling me. But Mrs. Henderson, I made peace with what Diane did years ago. Not because I forgave her, but because I refused to let her cruelty define me. She tried to tell me who I was. I decided for myself, and that decision gave me this. I gestured to my children, my home, my life. Dorothy handed me an envelope. She left this for you. I opened it. A check for $100,000. The note said, "For your children's education. From a grandmother who never got to know them because of her own pride. I'm sorry. Diane." I folded the check and handed it back to Dorothy. "I don't want her money. Give it to Brandon. He'll need it for IVF treatments." "You don't want it?" "My children don't need Diane's guilt money. They have 2 parents who love them, 2 sets of grandparents who celebrate them, and a legacy built on love, not regret. That's worth more than any check." Dorothy left, and I closed the door. Lawrence came up behind me. "You okay?" "Yeah, I'm good. Diane's dead. She died with regret, and I'm alive with joy. That's justice." That night, all 5 kids piled into our bed for movie night. Bodies everywhere. Popcorn spilling, laughter echoing through the house. I looked at Lawrence. "Remember when Diane said I'd never have this?" Every day. Every day I'm grateful she was wrong. She wasn't wrong. She was cruel. There's a difference. Wrong suggests she made a mistake. Cruelty was a choice. She chose to call me barren, chose to destroy me, chose pride over compassion. And she died knowing that choice cost her 5 grandchildren and a daughter-in-law who could have loved her. Do you feel bad that she died with regret? No, because regret doesn't undo harm. It just means you finally understood the harm you caused. That's not my responsibility to absolve. That's hers to carry to the grave. And is a dash, comma, status, said it dash. We're not together. 6 months later, she saw me pregnant at the mall with my billionaire. She died with regrets. Brandon has one child and a failed third marriage, and I have everything they said I couldn't have. The infertility was never me. It was Brandon's low sperm count, confirmed years after our divorce. But he was too proud to get tested, so they blamed me, called me barren, destroyed me, and I rebuilt myself into something they said was impossible. 5 children, a man who loves me, a family that celebrates me, a life so full that their cruelty became a footnote. Diane Williams kicked me out. Lawrence Okafor built me up. And now I'm thriving while she's in the ground wondering what could have been. She could have had 5 grandchildren. She could have had a grateful daughter-in-law. She could have had a legacy of love. Instead, she has a gravestone and regrets. And I have everything. That's not revenge. That's justice.